Yes, you can continue, Brigadier Gininda. We, just before the long adjournment, you testify that accused number one came in and he was in leg irons and handcuffed, and that Mr. Zwane then made that remark which you've placed on record, and that the accused responded. You've placed the response on record. Can continue.
Yes.
In other words, he said it's in connection with the matter for which we came for cleansing.
Correct, my lord.
Yes.
So, maybe before I come into that, my lord, let me just go back a bit. I forgot something. When I was indicating the pointers that I was looking at insofar as establishing whether they were people who came into the house, whether they were intruders or not, I forgot two points as well. I had to think about them while I was running. So I remember there were two aspects. I want just to add those.
Yes.
In addition to what I've said, my lord, the other part that I looked at was the ballistic testing of Mr. Silotwala's firearm.
Ngiphinde ngakubheka futhi ebengikhohle ukukusho ukuhlolwa kweballistic kwesibhamu sikaSilotwala.
And it was because, my lord, there was a suggestion, or there seems to be rumors, because really were nothing else but rumors, my lord. I must maybe put that into context, and the court will understand why I'm saying that. There were these rumors that suggest that that firearm was used in the killing of Senzo Meyiwa.
Ukuthi-ke futhi kukhona amahlebezi athi leso sibhamu sasisetshenzisiwe ekubulaleni uSenzo Meyiwa.
Now the ballistic testing, my lord, was negative.
Manje kuma kuhlolwa-ke ngeballistic kubonakala ukuthi cha kusona lesi sibhamu esasisetshenziswa.
Meaning it was not the firearm that was used to discharge the bullet point or the projectile that was found at the crime scene and the one that killed the deceased.
Kusho ukuthi-ke la kwahlolwa kwabonakala ukuthi akusona lesi sibhamu esadubula le nhlamvu etholakala endaweni yobugebengu ekuthiwa-ke iyona nhlamvu lena eyabulala uSenzo Meyiwa.
The second point, my lord,
Yeah.
in the
Just a minute. Lieutenant Colonel Mangena testified about the ballistic report that you have just referred to, and it also serves as an exhibit before this court.
yes, my lord.
Lieutenant Colonel Mangena waletha umbiko wase futhi-ke fakaza ngokuhlolwa kwezinhlamvu.
We will just come back to this at the later stage, yes.
All right, my lord, yes. So the second aspect, my lord, was that in the docket, and I'm referring to docket 636 of 10/2014, the Phosphorus docket, my lord, there was no statement then, and I don't have any up to today, that says there is a witness who saw either Longwe or Kelly Kumal or anyone in the house killing Senzo Meyiwa. In fact, the statements are saying intruders. So there is no statement under oath in this docket or suggestion, if you look at the preliminary evidence that was collected on that day, continuously before I got on board up to the time I came on board, that suggests or even make suggestion under oath that the deceased was killed by the people who were inside the house.
Okuyako okwangenza ukuthi ngicabange kanjalo ukuthi-ke kule docket leno 63610 2014 akukho statement noma ufakazi othi wabona uLongwe Thwala noma uKelly Khumalo ebulala uSenzo Meyiwa. Zonke izitatimende zikhomba ukuthi-ke izelelesi ezasihlasele ekuyizona ezabulala uSenzo Meyiwa.
And in this regard, my lord, I'm talking about direct witnesses. Someone who says, I saw Senzo Meyiwa being shot by X who was in the house.
Lana-ke ngikhuluma ngababona ngeso owathi ngabona ngeso lami uSenzo Meyiwa edutshulwa uSibanibani.
or someone, my lord, who even go to an extent of saying there were no intruders. I didn't see anyone going into the house. I heard gunshot and I didn't see people go running out of that house. There is no such a statement or such an eyewitness, my lord.
Akusikho futhi nestatement esithi cha ngezwe kudutshulwa kodwa ngizange ngibone umuntu ebaleka kuleyo.
The only statement, my lord, that wants to suggest, but it's a hearsay, is the one that was made by Mr. Thorpe, which seems to say he heard from one of the people who was inside the house, in specific Mr. Tumelo Madlala, that the deceased was shot by mistake, but Mr. Madlala refuted that, my lord.
Manje ke engathi mhlambe kucishe kusondele kulombono ukuthi kwakukhona istatement esenzwa uHlophe owathi wezwa uTumelo Madlala ethi uSenzo wadubuleka ngephutha kodwa ke uba uHlophe leso statement leso sagcina sichithiwe.
So, my lord, in essence, I'm saying taking these 2 points and the other ones that I've mentioned before, there couldn't be any. I don't know if anyone could come to a different conclusion to say there were no intruders. The facts, if they are presented to me today, I would have embarked on the same approach of believing that there were intruders and the process must be embarked on to find the intruders.
Manje ke konke ke lokungikholele ekutheni ngibone ukuthi wukho omunye umbono ongaba khona ukuthi babengekho abantu abahlasela lapha nanoma ngabheka namhlanje ngisazofika kulesi sinqumo sokuthi babe khona abantu ababehlasele ngalelo la.
The motive is something different, my lord, but simply the intruders, factually I was convinced and I still am that they were intruders.
Manje masikhuluma ngenhloso okunye lo kodwa ke fikela manje mina hayi ngisekuleyo ngqondo ukuthi cha kwakukhona abantu abahlasela.
Yes.
Yeah, you earlier on referred to the ballistic report that pertains to a firearm, and that this ballistic report is negative. I just want to show you Exhibit X in bracket 13B. This is the affidavit of Lieutenant Colonel Mangena.
Yes, my lord.
If you can just refer to paragraph 7.1 of that affidavit.
Yes, my lord. So, paragraph 7.1 reads, the bullet mentioned in 3.4.1 was not fired from the pistol mentioned in 3.1.
Thoke la inhlamvu lekhulunywe ngayo ku 3.4.1 akuyona inhlamvu eyadubula ngalesibhamu esisho lapho ku 3.4.1.
Can you just place again on record the pistol mentioned in 3.1?
So 3.1, my lord, it's a 9mm parabellum caliber P Beretta model 92 FS compact single and double action semi-automatic pistol with serial number BER 190037. Yeah, that's the other one is a magazine and a holster that is listed.
Leso sibhamu uhlobo le 9mm ole parabellum model 92 FS sine serial number BER 19007
37. 190037.
19 serial number yakhona BER 190037.
Yes.
And whilst we're still on this topic, you earlier testified that the witnesses who were in the house described one of the attackers as someone who had dreadlocks on. We referred to the identity kit.
That is correct, my lord.
Athi lama dreadlocks ufakaze ngawo abonakalile lapha kulezi ithombe ze identikit ebezikhonjisiwe.
I just want to briefly refer you to Exhibit S. We'll return in greater detail at a later stage. It's the downloads of the photos that were found on the cell phone of accused number 3. Just want to show you photo number 12.
Yes, my lord.
Yes, can you just, what is photo number
So,
12 of Exhibit S?
so photo number 12, my lord, depicts a person resemble accused number 3. My observation, it is accused number 3 with dreadlocks. The date is 2014-10-26. That's the date that is on top, IMG 2014-10-26, and that is the day of the incident. He is wearing a top which look like khakis, and I can mention, my lord, that in some of the statements of the people who were inside the house, mention the person with the dreadlocks wearing a khaki top. That is contained in the statements.
Lesi sithombe lesi sikhombisa umuntu ofana nomsolo wesithathu isithombe unumber 12 ekubonakala ukuthi sathathwa ngomhla ka-26 ku-October 2014 okuyilanga lesigameko, and futhi ke ofakazi bayasho ukuthi kwakunomuntu owayenama-dreadlocks owayegqoke itop ewukhakhi.
What is also prudent, my lord, perhaps to mention while we're dealing with this, is that these downloads was done on in the year 2015 February. In other words, the cell phone was seized from accused number 3 for another matter. Subsequently, then the downloading was done for that matter.
Okunye ke kufanele Paulo ukuthi le phone yathathwa ngoFebruary 2015 umsolo kwasekwenziwa ke i-download usho ukuthi kukhishwa ke kule phone okwakungaphakathi kwefoni kodwa lokho kwakukhishelwa elinye icala.
When we had our sight on him, my lord, then I requested on that download that was done then. It's not something that we found now, that was done then. So we worked on what was on the archives of the police. We then selected this album. In fact, we downloaded everything which was made available to the defense, but we focused on the photos that matches him with the suspect that was identified on the day of the incident in this matter. And I can say, my lord, we found more than one photo that fits the description of him resembling the shooter that was mentioned on the 26th of October 2014.
Sakhipha konke kwakule phone kodwa ke esaqonda ngqo ukona izithombe ezasisiza ukuthi sikwazi ukubona isithombe esifana esikhombisa umuntu ofana nalo okuleli icala lethu.
Yes.
Lo wayenama dreadlocks.
Thank you. Any other aspects that you want to mention?
Not that I can think of, my lord. If I do recall, the court will bear with me. I'll just keep on going back, my lord.
Akukhona okunye ngizobuyela emuva ngizocela inkantolo ingibekezelele.
Yes, we can then come back to the events of the night of the 31st of May.
Yes, my lord. So after the warning, after that was said, then I obviously warned accused number 1 that what he was saying amounts to a confession, and I cautioned him about the rights that I gave him, and the response was that, but it is the truth, you know, he's telling the truth.
Sengimaxwayiseleke umsolo wokuqala amtshela ukuthi lokho akukhulumayo manje sekungagcina kubonakale kukwamukela icala wasethi no cha kuyiqiniso lakakhulumayo.
My lord, I then asked the members to remove him, where I continued then the interview with Mr. Zwane.
Ngase ke ngicela ukuthi akhishwe ngase ngiqhubekela phambili ke nokuxoxisana noZwane.
Just a minute. I just want to briefly put on record the evidence of Mr. Zwane in this respect. These are the proceedings of the 4th of September 2023, and if you can refer to page 22, page 22.
Yes, I'm here, my lord.
If you can just place on record there where the sentence starts with Mr. Zwane.
So it says, now when I first met with Sibia, they came to me in the company of 3. So there were 3 of them. Now the person that I directly communicated or interacted with was this Sibia that I'm referring to. Just as I am talking to the interpreter now, this is the same person that I directly interacted with, this Sibia.
manje ke umuntu uthi ke lana uma ngihlangana nabo umuntu engaqala ukuhlangana naye uSibiya uma beza kumina babe bathathu, so babe bathathu. Manje umuntu engaqondana naye ngakhulumisana naye kwakuSibiya, ngisho ukuthi ngangikhuluma naye njengoba ngikhuluma noTokiliki manje uyena lo muntu engaqhumana naye uSibiya.
Yes, and same page 22.
Yes, it reads
line 14. There
Yes.
where it says Mr. Zwane.
Indeed, my lord. Yes, so it reads as follows. Now when Sibia and them came to me, they came to me as people that were in need of work. They were referred to me by somebody I do not know, but eventually they came to me and they said that they needed some work. They wanted to go, market for work and find work. Now I had to give them some herbal medicine for cleansing purposes, and I said to them, here is the product. You can go and cleanse yourself with this product, and thereafter you can go and search for work.
So manje uma sebeza kumina osmiya baza kumina beyabantu abafuna umsebenzi kusho ukuthi bayathunyelwa omunye, angazi ukuthi kanjani, kodwa ke beza kumina bathi kumina badinga umsebenzi basebefuna ke ukuthi bayomaketha bayothola umsebenzi. Lapho ngapho ke ukuthi ngibanike into lezi ethize nomuthi othize ukubageza, ngingase ngithi ke kubona na umuthi ningani niyozigeza ngawo lo muthi lona.
Line 19 reads as follows, my lord, under Mr. Zwane. Now the second time around, I cannot ascertain as to the number of people that came. Safe to say that this very Sibia came for the first time. Sorry, I beg your pardon, my lord. Maybe let me start from the beginning. Now the second time around, I cannot ascertain as to the number of the people that came. Safe to say that this very Sibia that came for the first time to consult with me, he came the second time around to indicate that that job has been done. Now he says to me where they had gone to search for work, there is someone that had sustained some injury there.
Uthi ke uZwane mesiqhubeka athi mase bebiya ke kwesibili angeke ngakwazi ukuchaza ukuthi abantu babengakabeza, kodwa ngicabanga ukuthi ke engingakusho ukuthi uyena lo Sibia lo oweza okokuqala ukuzongibona wabuya okwesibili esezosho ukuthi umsebenzi usuwenziwe, futhi ke uthi-ke kumina laba beke khona beyofuna umsebenzi kukhona owalimala khona.
And then page 25 from line 11.
Line 11 under Mr. Zwane, my lord, says, I do not know in terms of your cultural background, but with us, when somebody has passed on within the family, there is some ritual cleansing of the members of the family. The same principle I applied here when they came, because you know they cross path with misfortune, and as a result I had to assist them for ritual cleansing. After that I helped them only with two things.
Uthi-ke lapho uzala angazi ukuthi mayelana nosiko lenu luhamba kanjani, kodwa-ke kithina-ke umuntu umedlulile emhlabeni emndenini kukhona-ke ukugezwa kwamalungu umndeni. Lapha-ke ngasebenzisa yona-ke lento yokuthi kugezwe ngoba bathi masebebuya bahlangana neshwa futhi-ke umphumela walokho ukuthi ngangifanele ukuthi ngibasize ngokuthi bagezwe emva kwalokho ngabasiza kuphela ngezinto ezimbili.
On page 29, from line 14.
From line
14.
14. Okay. It reads as follows. I am just a person that has to help. I am a helper of people. Where I was standing, they took a picture or a photograph of me from where I was standing. They handcuffed me, then they took a picture of me, and then they showed it to somebody, and that particular person will then say, this is. They handcuffed me after that particular person said. Let me explain that when I walked out of the house, I was not handcuffed. Okay, let me just read all of it. Now when I got, I'm reading as it is, my lord. Now when I got, now they took pictures of me right there at the street, and then I was handcuffed at the street. Let me just explain it this way. I eventually got to the police station while handcuffed, and while at the police station there,
Mina ngumuntu osizayo nje kuphela, ngisiza abantu. La engangime khona wathatha isithombe sami la engangikhona. Base-ke bengifaka ozankosi. Base bethatha isithombe sami base besikhombisa omunye umuntu, and futhi lo muntu wayefanele asho lo bangifaka ozankosi emva kwa lokho omunye umuntu wasethi awuthi ngichaze lokho ngase ngithi mase ngihamba la ngaphandle kwendlu ngangasafakiwe ozankosi manje mase kulapho ngithathwa khona izithombe sithathwa ngapha ngokusokudla ngasemgwaqweni ngase ngifakwa ozankosi awuthi ngichaze ngalendlela kwathi mase ngifike emaphoyiseni ila engafakwa khona ozankosi ngise station esikhundleni samaphoyisa.
Then finally on page 30, from line 1.
okay, line 1 reads as follows, my lord. I said the Sibiya young man who was coming. I said the Sibiya young man who was coming from the proximity could be from here perhaps to the door there, and I was asked. He was handcuffed and feet as well. I asked him, young man, what happened? that you know inquiring from the Sibiya young man?
ngase ngibona ke insizwa le kaSpiya la evela khona kusho ukuthi ke la eyikhona njengokusuka la uyofika kule minyango lapha ya ngabuzwa ke yena kwayifakwe ozankosi ezandleni naseyinyaweni bese ngiyambuza ngithi awensizwa kwenze njani ngalesikhathi ngangibuza yona lensizwa yakaSpiya.
Then the prosecutor, my lord, asked, yes, and just a minute, could you recognize that person that you saw there at the police station? Could you recognize that person that you say it is Sibiya? Then Mr. Zwane replies as follows, this is the very person that I had a very close interaction with, that we were facing each other at a very closer proximity, and the others were just adjacent to where he was, just like these ones that are seated behind me here, but one is the very person that we had a face-to-face interaction with. I could then tell that this is the Sibiya young man.
Uyena lo muntu engangikhulumisana naye sibhekene ubuso nobuso eseduze kakhulu laba abanye babesemaceleni akhe ebeseduze kwala ehleli khona njengalaba nje abahleli la emva kwami kodwa ke yena uyena lo muntu engangibhekene naye ubuso kubuso ngikhulumisana naye ngangikwazi ngiyabona ukuthi uyena impela loyaSpiya leyansizwa yakaSpiya.
And then Mr. Baloyi says yes, and then Mr. Zwane, my lord, goes further to say, now I do not recall which police officer I spoke to, me, and right there at that police station, there were many police officers, and he said to me, do you know this person? Do you recognize this person? I then replied, I say, yes, I know this person. He is the same person that came to me. This is Sibiya.
Wase qhubeka ukuthi angisakhumbula ukuthi yiphi iphoyisa engakhuluma nalo khona lapho esikhumulweni samaphoyisa maningi amaphoyisa engakhuluma nayo and wasethi kumina uyayazi lensizwa uyayibona into ikhumbula lensizwa ngase ngiphendula ngithi yebo ngiyamazi lo muntu uyena futhi lo yamuntu oweza kumina uyena uSpiya.
Now, what is your comment regarding this version of Mr. Zwane?
My lord, it's in line with what I recall, although he's not explicit with regards to say but he does make reference to the handcuffs and coming, seeing him. And it is correct that when they brought him to me on the 31st, he was in a company of other police officers. Like I said, there was a SWAT team that was assisting. Sergeant Mukula was there. So they were police officers. So it's in line with my recollection of our interaction, my lord.
Yebo la kakubekayo kuyabonakala ukuthi cha ngempela kuyikho la akhuluma ngako nanoma ke njoba nje evesa nokuthi wayiboshwe efakwe zankosi einyaweni nasezandleni kodwa khona okunye angakubeki kufanele nqimishini nalokwami kodwa ngomhla 31 la kwabe khona yebo amanye amaphoyisa njengoba esho nje ngoba njengoba bese ngibekile ukuthi yayikhona iSWAT team futhi ke no Sergeant Mkhula naye wayekhona.
And what is prominent, my lord, is the fact that he does mention that there was a cleansing, because that was really the essence of me wanting to speak to him, to establish what is it that was said. As accused number one told me that during the cleansing process, they told this traditional healer. So he makes mention of the cleansing.
Okusemqoka kumina ukuthi ke wa kubeka ukuthi kwakunokugezwa okwenzeka ngoba kokuyona esemqoka kakhulu ngoba yayinto eyayivezwe na umsolo oqala ukuthi baya bayogeza.
So that part of the convention, my lord, in essence was collaborated.
Manje ukusho ukuthi ke leso lokho ke kwafakazela.
And this police station that Mr. Zwane refers to, what does it refer to?
Look, my lord, he was brought, I think as a layman one will understand. It was the provincial office. It's the building that belongs to the police. I think he was referring to where we met at the provincial office in Ayrton, my lord.
Lo muntu indawo ekhuluma ngayo asithathe nje ukuthi umuntu vele umuntu nje ongazi kakhulu kodwa ke le ndawo esasikuyona amahhovisi esifunda endaweni yase Ayrton.
Yes, you may continue. You mentioned that you administered another warning to accused number 1. You then said he must be removed.
Yes,
and you
my lord.
continued with the interview of Mrs. Zwane. What happened further?
Yes, upon establishing, my lord, that he was collaborating, most of the facts, there were just some small similarity, differences, and that, if I recall correctly, my lord, it was in relation of whether he knew before they went, because they came twice in my recollection or not. The inconsistencies were simply there.
No, kuloko ayekusho lokho kwakufana kakhulu naloko esasesikwazi kwakukhona yebo ukwehlukana nje okuncane kwakukhona kodwa ke okuningi kwakufana njengoba bese ichazela ukuthi washo ukuthi bafika kabili kuyena.
Then, my lord, I then decided that a statement from him rather should be obtained, and I requested then Colonel Mutlame, who was the commander of the anti-corruption unit of the Hawks, the DPCI in Germiston, to assist in taking this statement under Section 204 of Act 51 of the Criminal Procedure Act of CPA of 1977.
Then ngase ke ngiyocela uKolonel Mutlame osenza ngaphansi kwamahawk ukuthi akayongithathela istatement.
And if we can just get back to the proceedings of the 4th of September 2023 at page 23. Line 18.
Line 18, yes,
we
my
can
lord.
just put that on record.
Okay. I usually charge them 100 per consultation. Okay, let me start at the beginning.
Yes, you
Okay, is it fine?
proceed. Yes, proceed.
Okay. I usually charge them 100 per consultation, but on that day, they gave me 500 for the work that I have finished to them. And that is under Mr. Zwane's testimony, my lord.
Ngijwayele ke ukuthi ke ngikhokhise ikhulu lamarandi uma beza bezocela usizo kumina kodwa ngalelo langa ke banginika amakhulu amahlanu amarandi ngalomsebenzi engabenzela wona.
Yes, thank you. You may proceed. You arranged that a statement be obtained from Mr. Zwane in terms of Section 204 of the Criminal Procedure Act.
Indeed, my lord. So Mr. Zwane was taken to Colonel Mutlame, and I do know that the statement was then obtained from him, my lord.
Yazi ke ukuthi uZwane wathathwa iswa ku Colonel Mutlame ukuthi athathe istatement kuyena.
And I further know that he was then taken home, my lord, and accused number 1, I think, was taken back to detention, if I recall correctly.
Engikhumulayo ukuthi wase ebuyiselwe ekhaya umsolo oqala ke wayesebuyiselwa ngaphakathi ejele.
Then, my lord, on the 1st of June, because this was the 31st of May, on the 1st of June 2020, and that's when now he made his first appearance in Tembisa in relation to Tembisa case 217 of 3/2019. That is the warrant that was executed on him on the 30th when he was arrested. So he made his first appearance on the 1st of June 2020, my lord.
Ngomhla 1 kuJune 2020 ilapho ke ahamba ke wayebingelela imantshi Tembisa melana nelicala lika Tembisa 217 of 2019 emva kokuthi aboshwe ngomhla ka 30.
No, No bail was granted on that day, my lord, and he was remanded back into custody.
akazange anikwe ibheli ngaleso sikhathi waphindeliswa ekuvalelweni.
Yes.
Now, my lord, on the 4th, and that is following up on our last discussion when I spoke to him the first time, I then went to see him on the 4th of June 2020.
Ngumhla ka4 kuJuni ke saphinde saba nengxoxo elandela lokuye uthi sake sasike saqoqa ngaphambili.
I warned him according to his constitutional rights again, my lord.
Ngase ngimtshela ke ngamalungelo akhe futhi.
So where did you go to see him?
He was in Valeria, my lord, Valeria SAPS.
Ngalesikhathi ngiyambona wayeseValeria SAPS esikhumulweni samaphoyisa seValeria.
Yes, my lord. So I warned him according to his constitutional rights. I've covered that as well in my trial within trial evidence. But the essence of it was to establish if he is still willing to point out the crime scene, and the answer was yes, my lord.
Mase ngiyombona ngaleso sikhathi emva ukuthi ngimtshele amalungelo akhe ngafuna ukuzwisisa kahle ukuthi sazimisele yini ukuthi ayosikhombisa indawo yobugebengu.
And this willingness, my lord, as I mentioned it during the trial within trial, was made freely and voluntarily, my lord.
Njengoba bese ngishilo ku-trial within trial ukuthi hayi wayeshilo ukuthi uyavuma ukuthi uzwe ayosikhombisa.
My lord, then that led me to phoning around until I got assistance from Lieutenant Colonel Khatebe.
Ngase ke ngizama ke ukuthola ongangisiza engagcina ngithole usizo ku-Lieutenant Colonel Khatebe.
With an understanding that the accused must be taken to Albertine Police Station on the 5th of June 2020, that is the following day, where he will then take it from there, my lord, for the pointing out.
Lapho ngangifisa ukucela ukuthi ayise esikhumulweni samaphoyisa eAlberton ngomhla ka5 kuJuni kuyilanga elilandelayo.
Sergeant Mohane, my lord, was given that task, in other words, of moving accused number 1 from Valeria to that station, which is Albertine, and coordinating that arrangement with Colonel Khatebe. So I gave the numbers to each other so that they communicate.
And uSergeant Mohane ke uyena ke ngamathosa umsebenzi ukuthi ke aka hambise umsola esuswa eValeria iswa eAlberton lapho ke ayohlangana khona noLieutenant Colonel Khatebe futhi ke nokwenza wonke amalungiselelo adingekayo ukuthi ahanjiswe.
Now, my lord, I do know that indeed the pointing outs were done on the 5th of June 2020.
Ngiyazi ukuthi kwahamba kwayokhonjwa indawo ngomhla ka5 kuJune 2020.
And when I received, not the same day, so maybe let me deal with it in sequence, my lord. So when it was done, I then received the confession form, the pointing out form first, and then subsequent to that, in a couple of days, then I received the photo album of the pointing outs.
Okwenzeka ukuthi ke ngathola kwabahamba bayokhomba indawo ke yokuthi la indawo yobugebengu la yenza khona. Emva kwaloko ke ngase ke mina ngithola izithombe ezikhombisa ukuthi kwenzekani la kwakwenza khona ikhomba indawo yobugebengu.
Now, what I noted, my lord, in particular on the photos, is that in some of the photos, accused 1 is seen pointing at a scene, and that place that is pointing at, because I've been there, I went to visit the scene. It's actually the crime scene. It's number 13511 Kutwano Street, Phosphorus. That is the crime scene, or that are the place where the deceased in this matter was shot, and he took the pointing out officer to that address.
Engingakuphaula ukuthi ngaqaphela ukuthi umsolo wokuqala la ethombeni wayekhomba indawo yobugebengu okusho ukuthi ila umuzi ke lo wase 13511 Kutwano Street lapho ke umufi wadutshulelwa khona.
I also recall, my lord, that I saw a photo of pointing out next to Basutini hostel, or rather around there on the street, and that is in line with what the investigation was saying, that they would have met in that hostel before the incident was executed and then met after, and thereafter he was dropped after the incident, my lord. So that location, because I know that place as well, my lord, it is situated around the Basutini hostel.
And futhi ke wahamba ekhomba ke ihostel laseBasuthwini la ekuthiwa khona babe ahlangana bengakayi endaweni yobugebengu nokuthi ke emva kwaloko ke baphinde bayohlangana khona ke lapho ngiyayazi le ndawo ngabona ukuthi yona.
My lord, what I also forget, if I can just take the quote back, I forgot to mention it when I was talking to him on the 30th. This is now when he was making a session or admitting to his involvement in the killing of the deceased. One of the things that he mentioned was that this murder, it was a contractual killing that was given to them by then the girlfriend of the deceased, Ms. Kelly Kumalo.
Manje okuye ngifuna ngikusho bese ngikhohle ukusho ukuthi ngomhla ka-30 mangikhuluma naye wamukela ukuthi yebo wayethinteke kubulaweni kukamufi futhi ke nokusho ukuthi umufi wabulawa abantu abathunyiwe ukuthi ke bayethunyele ingcwayi kamufi okwakukheli Kumalo.
At which point did you mention that?
It was during our interaction outside at the parking lot of the police station, my lord, in Phosphorus. That is prior to him being handed over to Colonel Mboto, before we moved to Ereton.
Kusho ukuthi ke lokwenzeka lokhu eparkeni lase Phosphorus engaka dluliselwa ke kuKenel ukuthi ke ayokhulumisana naye ayothatha statement.
Now, my lord, I'm saying the part of the girlfriend because when I looked at the statement that was taken by Colonel Mboto and also the pointing out, because Lieutenant Colonel had also made some notes, that part as to who sent them to kill the deceased is mentioned. And that was the name of Kelly Kumalo. It's there. So that aspect was then corroborated as well.
Usho ukuthi ke uma ngikhuluma ngalokho ukuthi ke yini ngisho ukuthi ke babethunyelwe igirlfriend ukuthi statement isikamboto washo futhi ukuthi wavela futhi ukuthi owayebathumile uKelly Kumalo.
Furthermore, my lord, the issue of the crime scene that he told me about was corroborated in this pointing out because, as I said, I know the crime scene, the photos were taken of him standing outside the house. And that part then was also corroborated that when he said, I do not know the address, but I can point out the scene. He pointed out the correct crime scene where the deceased in this matter was killed.
And futhi ke ukuthi ke mayelana nendawo yobugebengu ngiyayazi le ndawo futhi umsolo wathathwa isithombe engaphandle kwale ndawo eyikhomba ukuthi nanoma ke engenayo engenalo ikheli lale ndawo kodwa washo ukuthi ngiyayazi le ndawo nganthatha nginise kuyona.
The other collaboration, my lord, it was in relation to the traditional doctor because what transpired on the 31st, he took them, he pointed out where the traditional doctor was residing. The traditional doctor was brought to me and his assertion and the communication and subsequent statement that he made was a collaboration of the statement, the confession that he made, my lord.
Okunye ke ile nyanga le ekwakhulunywa ngayo ukuthi umhla 31st wabathatha ngoba eshilo ukuthi khona inyanga baya kuyona wabathatha wayahamba uyakhombisa la kuhlala khona le yanyanga.
Yes, my lord.
Thank you. You mentioned that you received the pointings out form that was handed up as Exhibit GG during the trial within a trial.
Yes, my lord.
And you also mentioned photos that were taken during the pointings out, which were handed up as Exhibit GG in brackets 1
Correct,
during
my
the
lord.
trial within a trial.
I did mention them, correct, my lord.
Yebo ngikhulumile ngefomu elagcwaliswa ngesikhathi ke kuyokwenziwa le khomba nezithombe ezathathwa ngesikhathi ke kwenziwa le khomba.
I just want to show you photos of Exhibit GG in brackets 1. This is a photo album compiled by Surgeon Mapakela, taken during the pointings out. In particular, I wish to draw your attention to photo number 14.
Indeed, my lord. So photo number 14, but as well as photo number 15, depicts the outside house, the crime scene basically. This is the house where the deceased was shot and killed.
This is Tombe ezathatha Surgeon Mapakela. Usithombe number 14 number 15 sikhombisa ngaphandle kwendlu la umufi athuthelela khona. Le sikuthiwa ke indawo yobugebengu.
Photo 16.
Yeah, sorry, my lord. Maybe just to put that into the right context so that I'm not misquoted. So this is where he was shot, and then he was certified dead at the hospital. So he wasn't certified dead at the scene, but this is where the incident took place. And then at 21:15, when he arrived at Buchilong Hospital, he was then certified dead, my lord.
Mangicacisa kancane ukuthi ila ukubona okuthiwa wathuthulela khona. Kodwa ke akazange ashonele kule ndawo ngo-21:15 esibhedlela ilapha kushiwo khona ukuthi cha useshonile.
And that is the 21:15 of the 26th of October 2014, my lord.
And isikhathi ke lesi isikhathi 9:15 ngomhla ka-26 October 2014.
I just want to refer you to the photo album of Lieutenant Colonel Mhlahlo, which serves as Exhibit D before this court.
Yes, my lord.
Photo number 2. Photo number 1 and 2.
Yes, my lord.
Yes, what is your comment?
So photo 1 and 2, my lord, depicts the same house, the crime scene. In other words, it depicts the same house that is contained in the photo album of the pointing out in photo 14 and 15.
Isithombe sokuqala sisibili sikhombisa le ndlu yakho nje kukhomba kuyokhonjwa indawo yesigameko ezibonakala esithombeni number 14 no 15.
The only difference, my lord, is that the photos that were taken by Lieutenant Colonel Mhlahlo back in 2014, there was no black gate, steel gate. So in the photos that were taken on the 5th of June 2020 by the photographer who was in the company of Colonel Hadebe, there is a gate. So the difference is the gate and the paving, but the house is the same, the brick structure and the wall.
Kukhona umehluko kulesi sithombe ezathathwa umhlahlo ukuthi ke lapho engakabi khona isango lensimbi elimnyama. Ithombe zathathwa ngomhla ka-5 kuJune 2020 lapho ke kwababe noSergeant Hadebe ziyakhombisa lapho ukuthi likhona isango elali lensimbi lalikhona.
And the photo number 2 of Colonel Mhlahlo's album, my lord, exhibits rather, also depicts the grayish brownish BMW X6, and this vehicle, because you can see the registration number, is the vehicle that belonged to the deceased, Mr. Senzo Meyiwa.
Futhi kulezi ithombe ezazithathwe umhlahlo kubonakala lapha khona iBMW grey X6 kubonakala kahle ucacayo ukuthi kwakuyi BMW eyayika Senzo Meyiwa.
Photo 16 of Exhibit GG in brackets 1.
Yes, photo 16, my lord, also points the accused number 1 is still at the scene, is pointing at the crime scene. This is the crime scene.
Isithombe sa number 16 nasona kusabonakala umsolo wokuqala ekhomba indawo yobugebengu.
And photo number 19 of Exhibit GG1.
Photo number 19, my lord, is pointing, this is the evidence I refer to, is pointing, there's a main road and is pointing down, but if one looks at, and if you read this in conjunction with the pointing out comments, that's the situation, that is a spot which is situated on next to Basutuni Hostel.
Lapha ke kulesi sithombe kusemgwaqweni kodwa ke
I'm going to object. Yes. Brigadier Gininda is trying to come with his own analysis. The pointing out is a very specific thing. It's either you pointed a specific thing without there being, without the information that is being interpreted, which is being pointed out being interpreted. Now he is feeding this court what he thinks could have been pointed the day on which the alleged pointing out was made.
When I was listening to him, and I listened very carefully,
Yes.
he says, I know that spot. That's what he premised.
He is now talking about Basutu Hostel.
Yes, he says he knows that. Didn't you say that, sir?
I said exactly that, my lord.
He says, I know that spot.
I said exactly
That is where they say they left, and that is where they say they came back to.
My lord, he is saying, he's pointing at the tar road, and this tar road is at Basutu Hospital. We can drive now to check if, but what I'm saying, my lord, if it needs to be.
Mr. Mnisi,
Yes, my lord.
you can argue that.
No, but my lord, this is not a point to be argued. It needs to be taken up now so that it needs to be corrected. Because the court will then later on come and say, but why didn't you raise your objection then? This is the reason why I'm raising this objection, my lord.
Under cross-examination, you can put it to the brigadier that you were wrong by this and this and this.
Am I therefore not allowed
You want
to
to
object
cross-examine
now?
him? You want to cross-examine him during the time when he's giving his testimony. I don't know that procedure. So you can keep that evidence if you're saying he's wrong or he's lying, to put it strongly.
Thank you,
Then
my lord.
when you cross-examine him, you can point out how he's lying.
Thank you,
Okay.
my lord, but I think this served to check the minds of my colleague and myself as well. Thank you, my lord.
Okay, yes.
Mr. Court, please, I think Advocate Mnisi will be well advised to read Section 209 of the Criminal Procedure Act.
What does 209 say? Let's read it because we forget these things.
Well, Section 209 reads as follows. Conviction may follow on confession by the accused. An accused may be convicted of any offense on the single evidence of a confession by such accused that he committed the offense in question. And the following part is important. If such confession is confirmed in a material respect, or where the confession is not so confirmed, if the offense is proven by evidence other than such confession to have actually been committed. Now, my lord, we've been through a trial within a trial. The confessions have been allowed. At this point, what the investigating officer is trying to do is just to try and connect the dots to show that this spot that was pointed out by the accused accords with the objective evidence.
May I respond, my lord? Oh, I'm sorry, my colleague wants to object, yes, but I'm also prepared to respond as well.
My lord, we all are aware of the provisions of Section 219, which the state has just read. The gist of the objection is not on the provisions, my lord, of Section 219. The gist of the objection is on the explanation that is given by the witness, wherein he says the picture depicted in photo so and so, wherein the accused is pointing, it means it's pointing and it starts to give the explanation on the description to say it means the accused was pointing at this and this, my lord. So the objection is on that this witness cannot give explanation to say what was being pointed out or what was being shown, my lord, because pointing out will have notes to say on this position, when the accused pointed this is what was pointed out. It will be recorded there. It does not necessarily mean that the investigating officer has to come and explain to say what is it that was pointed out by the accused, which is not the correct information or evidence contained in that exhibit, my lord.
How do you assign that? You've got the right to cross-examine this witness until Mandela is risen from the dead. That's your right. But you can't stop a person giving evidence like he is evidence in chief and cross-examine him whilst he's doing that. You have every right to cross-examine him. You have every right to put your client's version there. You have every right to interrogate the photos and show him what you're saying. These photos don't show. Okay, you have that right. So
Yes,
please.
yes, I agree, my lord. We do have the right to cross-examination
Yes,
at
but-
a later stage.
But you can't stop him.
But also, my lord, as we are the defense representing the
Ms.
accused,
Msholo.
my lord.
Cholo,
Yes,
I say
ma'am.
you can't do it
Yes.
at this stage.
Yes, my lord, I'm responding to that, my lord. I said, yes, my lord, we agree with the court that we do have a right to do cross-examination. However, if it appears from the defense that something wrong is happening in court when the evidence is led, we have a right to raise an objection, my lord. If the objection is overruled, there is no problem, we will proceed. But we do have a right to point it out to the court and to raise an objection on the unfairness that is happening in court when it appears to us, my lord. That's my submission, my lord.
Yes, okay.
If the objection is overruled, my lord, it should appear on the record that the objection was overruled, then we proceed, my lord. But it shouldn't be as if we left it and it was allowed to go through when we could see that it was wrong, my lord. Thank you, my lord.
So please, my lord, there's no unfairness as my colleague is arguing. A confession,
Can you speak
a confession or pointing out on its own is cannot just stand on its own. It's got to be supported by objective facts, and the only way is if the investigating officer says a spot has been pointed out, that spot accords with my knowledge of the crime scene. That's how you add weight to the confession, because on its own, hence Section 209 says there has to be evidence aliunde or confirmation of the confession or the pointings out in a material respects, and that is what the investigating officer is indicating, to show that there's confirmation, there's corroboration. That's perfectly in order.
Yeah, but as you know, the defense has got the right to cross-examine.
Yes.
Am I correct, sir?
Indeed, my lord.
Yeah. And that right is immutable. I can't stop anybody wanting to cross-examine a witness who has made a certain observation which the defense disagrees with. And you can put it to Brigadier Gininda that he is wrong here, he's not stating the facts are this and that and that and that and that. Okay, let's proceed.
There's a court, please, my lord.
My lord, I can...
I wanted to refer my colleagues to comment on
That's the ruling that we can proceed. My colleague says he wants to refer us to something. Is that not an issue for argument as well, Madam? Because the manner in which he's doing it, we are going to request tomorrow when we come back that we should counter what he is trying to refer us to by also referring him to certain authorities as well. This is highland procedural. Otherwise, he's overruling the court when he says he wants to refer us to something when the court has said that we can proceed.
He wants to educate the court. You're trying to quote the case. We are thinking you wanted to case.
No, I just wanted to buttress the point, but I'll leave it at that. You can proceed.
Yeah, he needs to be very specific, Madam. If he wants to educate the court, he must state it that I want to educate the court. Because I am not interested in his education, Madam. I'm educated enough to be educated by him.
Yes, we can proceed, Brigadier Gininda. You were at photo number 19.
Yes, yes, my lord. But my lord, can I just say the following? And because I've said it in my evidence, and I think I dealt with it during the cross-examination on the main trial, on the trial within trial. Photos, as much as they can tell thousands ways, they don't speak. When these confessions was taken, the confessions, the written one, and the photos, I needed to corroborate what was said. That's how you make sense of the confession. You can't take it on the face value and say, this person has said this, it's written there, it's the gospel truth. You must corroborate it. Corroboration means there's a suspect or an accused pointing a scene. Where is this place is pointing? When I said I know this place, my lord, it's because I had to go to these places and corroborate. Where was the car stationed? Where was he placing? Is the place he is pointing collaborates with what we have in evidence? That's how you build a case. Mr. Mnisi was the prosecutor for the state. He ought to know that. Secondly, my lord, page photo 21 on exhibit GG1, photo 21, you can see clearly the hostel behind. The car that was driving the accused, that is accused number 1, is depicted there. Behind it in photo 21, you can see the building of the hostel. So it will not then make sense, my lord, to say, and this is a process I had to embark on to corroborate what was contained in his statement, as well as the statement of accused number 2.
Ngicela ukuthi lapha kulesi sithombe sibheke futhi ukuthi izithombe azikwazi ukuzikhulumela. Kufanele kube khona ukuxhasa okubonakala esithombeni. Manje kwangiphoqa ukuthi mina ngizama ukuthi ngitholisise ukuthi ilaphi le ndawo. Kwangiphoqa ukuthi ngiye kuleyo ndawo ukuthi nami ngizozitholela esami isiqiniseko sokuthi lo mgwaqo lo awukhombayo umgwaqo oyapi. Lapha photo number 22 kuyabonakala ukuthi nansi le hostel akhuluma ngayo ingemuva futhi ke nale moto ehambisa umsolo oqala na ikhona lapha esithombeni iyabonakala.
And furthermore, my lord, that did indicate that I was looking at this photo album in relation to the notes that were made by the pointing out officer. And I think that deals with what Mr. Mshololo was saying, my lord, that it's not like I was just looking at a document, interpreting it in my own way. I wanted to see if it can be corroborated or not, because that's how investigations are done, my lord.
Futhi ngifuna ukusho ukuthi ngangibheka lezi izithombe ngiqhathanisa ke namanothi ayibhalwe yilo owayethatha izithombe ngesikhathi kuyokwenza le khomba. And futhi ke kwakungiphoqa lokho ngoba ngangingafuni ukuthi kube yimina engizibhekela ukuthi kwawenzekani. Ngangifuna ukutholisisa ukuthi lezi izithombe zithathwe ngayiphi indlela nokuthi zasikhuluma ngani.
And lastly, my lord, that I've said, I know this place, I stand by that, I definitely know it, and if that is in dispute, we can do the inspection in local. Mr. Mnisi, they can come, we can go to this place, my lord.
Cha ngifuna ukunezezela futhi ngithi ngiyayazi le ndawo ngiyile kuyona mawukuthi kuba umnisi ufuna ukuthi siphindele kule ndawo ukuthi siyoyihlala futhi xa singakwenza lokho kodwa ngiyayazi le ndawo.
Are you done with the explanation on photos 19 and 20?
Yes, 19, 20, as well as 21, my lord, because photo 21 shows the hostel. You can actually see the buildings clearly of photo 21.
Kwesithombe number 21 ihostel libonakala kahle.
Thank you. We can go back to your evidence.
Yes, my lord.
What happened after the pointings, after receiving the pointings out form as well as the photo album?
So, my lord, as I said, I looked at the collaboration, which I've just indicated that I found. They were obviously then filed in the docket, and then we carried on with the investigation, my lord.
Ngase ngibheka ke ukufakazelana kokufakazisa sinabo ngase ke siyaqhubeka nophenyo lwethu.
Scott, please, I just want to draw your attention to Exhibit FF. That is the confession in the name of accused number 1, Muzika Kulela Stemba Sibiya.
Yes, my lord. You want to refer?
My lord, we're about to start a new topic. I wonder if it will not be an appropriate time to adjourn. It's 13 minutes past 3.
How much?
13 minutes past 3.
Okay. Application for an adjournment. No objection. No objection. All right. So, are you available tomorrow?
I am, my lord.
10 o'clock again.
Yes.
Okay. 10 o'clock tomorrow.